Shalom. Today I'd like to talk about a subject that is very important to us as Messianic believers, and that is the way we look to other people. This was brought to my attention last night because every Shabbat evening I take my best friend Richard out to dinner before we go to synagogue. During the course of eating, all of a sudden he started crying. And I said, "Richard, what's the matter?" And he said, "Men have been coming up to me and asking me, 'How you doing, Richard? Is everything okay, Richard? Is there anything you need, Richard?'" And he said, "I don't know who these men are." And instantly it dawned on me what he was talking about. He thought he was coming down with Alzheimer's. 79 years old, it could be expected, but I knew right away that wasn't the case. So I told him, "Richard, don't worry about Alzheimer's. That's not what's going on. I need to explain to you what's taking place. Being that you're a Messianic Jew, living in a mainly secular Jewish community, and you wear your kippah all the time, and you're always talking about Hashem and about Torah, and giving people bits of wisdom, they're starting to see you as a righteous Jew. And in so doing, they're attaching themselves to you. And the reason they're doing this is because they don't want to change their lifestyle. They're not living a righteous Jew lifestyle, but because in Judaism it's believed that we all share a common soul, if they can attach themselves to you, perceived as a righteous Jew, then that fulfills that end of their requirement. And that's what's going on. These people may not know who you are, but they have found out and they've heard by word of mouth that you're a righteous Jew. And so, of course, they're attaching themselves to you. And that's a good thing, because then that opens the door that you can minister to their needs. And this was very evident when we went to synagogue shortly after. As we entered, all these men started coming up to Richard and asking him how he was doing, if everything was okay. And it was very obvious that they were seeing him in a very favorable light. And it's kind of strange, too, in a way, because he has told them that he was Messianic. But it doesn't seem to make any difference, because if you're perceived as a religious Jew, then you're a religious Jew. It doesn't matter whether you're Messianic, Orthodox, Reformed, or Conservative. They see you as that, and they want to attach themselves to you. And that's one thing I think we need to really understand as Messianic Jews, that the way we portray ourselves is very, very important to the secular Jews around us, because they're looking for someone to fill that void. They don't want to change their lifestyles. They're very happy with the way they are, but they still have that need to have a religious aspect to their lives. And so if they can attach themselves to a religious Jew, then that can fulfill that aspect. We may not always run into these people, but they're around us continually without us even knowing it. And we may never know that we've come in contact with several every day. One instance comes to mind one day when I went to Home Depot, and I was wearing my kippah. And I was looking for lawn bags to put my leaves in, and I was zipping around the Home Depot looking for the leaf bags, and I couldn't find them. So finally this young man walks up to me and he asks, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm looking for leaf bags. Can you show me where they are?" And he said, "Sure, come over here." So we walked over and he showed me a large box, and it had maybe it was a third full of leaf bags. So I bent over and reached down to pick up the leaf bags, and all of a sudden I heard him behind me saying, "I'm sorry, Rabbi, but I haven't been to synagogue lately." And instantly I knew I was dealing with a young Jewish man here who was feeling some guilt because he had been raised in the synagogue, but he had left it when he became an adult. So I just stood up and looked at him and said, "Why not start now? It's never too late." And after I was able to minister to him for a while, we parted on very friendly terms. And I thought, you never know when you run into these people. I've had people come up to me and say, "Oh, I'm Jewish." but yet you would never have known it by looking at them, because they were secular. You know, they don't pronounce their Jewishness to the world. They want to keep it kind of undercover so that they can continue with their lifestyle the way it is. Because so many times, Christians especially, when they see somebody wearing a kippah, expects a high level of performance out of that person. Even though they may not be at that level in their walk, they still expect certain things. So naturally, Jews don't want to wear their kippahs and announce that they're Jewish because of those expectations. And I even at one point had a rabbi tell me, and this is a conservative rabbi, not a Messianic, during a meeting that he felt bad because sometimes when he went into places he shouldn't go, he would wear a baseball cap over his kippah so people wouldn't know. And I thought, oh, why are you going into those places to start with? With portraying ourselves as an observant Jew, we have a responsibility. And we don't realize that there are people who are depending upon us to continue that lifestyle, to be the very best that we can be at it, because they're living vicariously, spiritually through us. And at the same time, it opens a door that we can minister to them. I can't count the number of times I've had that opportunity simply because I was wearing a kippah. And it just amazes me that we have this overpowering responsibility. And after all, isn't that why Yeshua was so popular in his day when he was walking the earth? People flocked to him. Why? Because he represented what Jews should really be. He was a very observant rabbi, and people desired to share that, just like they will desire to share what we have. So I would encourage everyone today to think about it, and if at all possible, wear your kippah. You know, wear your tzitzit. Be that observant Jew, not to show off, but so that those secular ones out there who are looking for someone to attach themselves to fulfill that righteous side that isn't fulfilled yet, so that they can come to you and they can attach themselves to you, thus giving you a door of opportunity to minister to them. Shalom and Yom Nifla.